Hi, it's me, Simon Dingwall. Welcome to the first in my new series of video guitar lessons. Now, just to give you a few general pointers before we start. One thing early on in my time in music I found very frustrating was the inability to get hold of kind of sheet music or guitar tablature and various other things to learn exactly how to play the songs. So hopefully, I think by filming these videos, I'll be able to hopefully help you along, so you don't have to go through quite the frustration I went through and a lot of others go through. In these lessons, I'll just say this before we start: I don't claim to be a guitar teacher. So these lessons are just art teaching you how to play guitar. They are showing you how to play my songs. So a little bit of acoustic guitar or just general guitar skills, like knowing like basic chords and things, that is required. The other thing I'll say is I've tried to organise it into difficulties, but that's been quite hard really, because once you've learned them, they're all easy. When you're learning them, they're all hard. And to be honest, to an experienced guitarist, probably all my songs are easy, because I tend to keep things simple. Now, these songs some of these progressions and various things I show you might not be very true to the original song, but they will be accurate to the way I play them. And the other thing to say before we start is I have standard tuning but down to semitones, which means when I have a capo on 2nd fret, that effectively means I've got standard concert pitch as if. So that's the equivalent of open strings on a normal guitar. Now in this first lesson I'll be teaching you 3 simple Bob Dylan songs. I just think this is a good place to start, because one thing I've always liked about Bob Dylan is you open a chord book for most artists and see 3 chords, and you can almost guarantee that's a simplified version. With Bob Dylan, that's actually what he's playing, and that's the beauty of it. So the first one I'm going to show you is Knockin' on Heaven's Door. Now it's just rough strumming this. All the songs in this lesson are rough strumming. So you want open strings, which is obviously my down tuned is on the 2nd fret. So for a standard tuning guy, it's just standard tuning. It's just 4 chords, and it's the same 8-bar progression that repeats throughout the whole song. All the intro, the outro, the verses and the choruses. And that's just G, D, A minor, 2 G, and that's basically all there is to it. Dynamics, which is like what rhythms you strum and how hard you strum the chord and etc. That's not really something I can teach you, because that's unique to a guitarist. And to be honest, I think a lot of my own styles don't have my own dynamics, and it's something that comes a bit with instincts. Now I don't actually know what kind of dynamics I use, so I can't really go into much detail because I don't really think about it. Because you will find as you progress with guitar, or perhaps you've already progressed with guitar beyond the level that I'm at, and you'll find that dynamics comes quite instinctively. But a couple of things you can add to this song, which I do, is chord chopping, which is where basically every now and then you lift your fingers ever so slightly off the fretboard, so deaden the strings, and then press down again. So instead of, which is the smooth way of doing it, you get the choppy version, which is like this. Now if you're doing that, now I tend to use the simplest version of the chord, which in the case of G is 3 fingers, but if you're chopping it does help to use 4 fingers, because of course you can only chop strings that you fret. Same on the C. You can use 4 fingers and fret that bass string on the 3rd fret, like so. And this also helps if you're like me, who likes to really go for it. If you end up catching the bass string, it then sounds a little bit better. It's not off key. And the other thing is, this works especially well on the quiet bits, is if you change your A minor to an A minor 7 by dropping your little finger on your highest string at the 3rd fret like that. So when you hit the A minor in the progression. And then basically just fade out at the end. Now normally the last bar of a song, if I'm fading out, I won't play the whole bar, I'll just play one strum. Now what I tend to do is, as you know on the song, is I'll play the 8-bar progression once and then end on a strum of G. Now this is songs in the key of G, so it's best to always end on whichever what they call the root chord, so in case the key of G is G. That's normally the best chord to end on, just as a general pointer. But that's really all there is to Knockin' on Heaven's Door. So we'll move on to Blowin In The Wind now. Right. Well, first off, now you cap out to 5 for this, and there's only 3 chords: G, C, and D. Now I'll show you the progression for the chorus, which is also the progression for like the links and the short harmonica solos, and the intro on the album version, which is C, D, G, C, C, D, G, G again to finish. So that's the chorus progression. For the verse lines, is the progressions G, C, D, G, G, C, G, G. Now that's the progression you use for the first and third lines of the verse, but for the second line of the verse, you change the last 2 bars of G to 2 bars of D instead. So the same for the first part of the progression is the first 6 bars of the progression is the same, just the last 2 which are D instead of G. Yeah, so basically one thing you can do is if you hear the quieter parts at the start of the album version, that's because you're just strumming the 3 high treble strings, and through the first link you build it up. Now whenever you hear a short solo on the album version, that's just the chorus progression, and the tune of the chorus is the mouth organ solo. For the big solos, a verse and a chorus. But the way I do this live most of the time is I'll just strum one chorus up and then play a verse and a chorus. Or sorry, sing a verse and a chorus. Then I'll play a verse and chorus on mouth organ, sing another verse and chorus, and play a chorus to end. And it's one of those songs where I like to slow down at the end. So you go in at the full pitch of the song, at the full pace of the song, and then gradually fade away to nothing basically as you go on. I don't know, my brace has got so rusty. This is not going to taste nice. Basically it's quite difficult to show you how to play mouth organ, but whenever you hear fast notes, you just got to remember, these are diatonic mouth organs. This one's in the key of C obviously, because the song's in the key of C. I always use the same key mouth organ in the song. Some people don't do that crossplay stuff, but I don't really tend to do things like that. I don't do that at all. Basically, whenever you hear fast, smooth notes, you can guarantee that I'm blowing and drawing, which means sucking. So basically get a good mixture of breathing out and breathing in notes. Try and be quite smooth. And just really don't hold back on mouth organ, just go for it. And first 2 might be a bit rough, and some of mine are still quite rough, but you'll get there with it in the end. You've just got to try and mimic the tune. Basically what you've got to remember is holes to the left are lower pitch and holes to the right are higher pitch. And of course, so I'll show you how the solo goes. And I've got to say I've gone wrong already, I'll try. On the last solo to end, generally slow down, so start up at full pace and slow down about halfway through. So you can chop a chord and just drum in the third palm mute just to finish. And that's really all there is to Blowin In The Wind, really. Now, I'll show you Mr. Tambourine Man as well. It's the same mouth organ, same chords, cap on, same fret, fifth, same 3 chords again. Now this time there's not to link like a chorus to like the next verse, or for the introduction of the song. It's just basically a few bars of G. Then the chorus progression is a 16 bar progression. It's C, D, G, C, G, C, D, D, C, D, G, C, G, C, D, G. So that's the verse. That's the chorus progression. After each chorus going into the next verse, just strum a few bars of G. Now basically the chorus is made up of like short and long lines. Now, so the verse is made up of like short and long lines. You've got to kind of tackle it a bit at a time. But the first line of the verse is C, D, G, C, and that's normally followed by, then that first line is followed by a very number of shorter lines which only have 2 bars, which is just G and C, and then there'll be another longer line after a few of them. So, for example, the first verse, in the first half of the first verse is only one of them shorter lines, and the next bit after that goes G, C, and 2 bars of D. Then we go back to that first progression, C, D, G, C, and some more lines, and then that G, C, and 2 Ds again. Now basically that's the basic structure of the verse, but there's a varying number of them short lines with just G and C, so you just have to add as many as there are there. So then the solo, basically both solos just follow the tune of the chorus, which I'll play for you now. And the other thing is on the last solo, one little special effect you can do, which is high on your, if you play quite high up on the mouth organ here, if you're playing quite back here, and then you blow and then you just move your head rapidly from side to side, but keep blowing, that produces an effect called a trill, which sounds like this. Now, they always say, and I agree with them, don't overuse your mouth organ special effects, but I'll just show you the solo. But again, it's got to be done by ear, this, I'm afraid. Typical of me, I forgot to put that trill in, but it's the end of the second, it's halfway through the solo, so. It just adds to the intensity and the energy of the whole thing. So that's basically all there is to it. I don't claim to be an excellent, a good music teacher, but hopefully this will help you on your way a little bit, certainly compared to, well, it's certainly better than nothing, hopefully. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you have a good time playing these 3 songs. In the next issue I'll be teaching you 3 simple Proclaimer songs, 3 More Days, Unguarded Moments and Free Market. But for now, thanks for, just remember, don't try and overcomplicate things, that's my kind of attitude to it. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this was useful.